Hello everyone, my name is Jarrett, you're watching Millbrook Minis. Today we're going to talk about designing a LUT inside of Davinci Resolve. So let's get right into it. The first thing I'm going to do is show you 3 different methods for how you can transfer your log footage that's capturing a lot of information and compressing it down to the Rec. 709 color space, which is the ultimate goal of a LUT. Let's ignore the node structure I have here, because I will get to that later. Let's just talk about the aces in and aces out nodes. If you're looking through the library of effects, you'll see the aces transform under Resolve FX Color. You're going to slap an aces transform on your very first node structure, and then an aces transform on the very last one. Aces in. What's going on here? Our input transform is going to be Canon log 2 daylight cinema. That's what we shot in. You have to know the color space that you're shooting in order to deal with the footage. Our output transform is going to be an aces intermediary. There are 2 standard ones, aces CC, CSC, or aces CCT, CSC. In my testing, I haven't found too much difference in either how the colors are represented or how the contrast curve is adjusted. So either way, this is your intermediary, that is your output transform. All the adjustments that you're going to be doing to the image are going to happen between the in and out point. But let's jump ahead to our out point. Our input transform is going to be, I have that set to Canon C70. That is not what you're going to do. You're going to set the input to aces CC, the same that you have here. This is outputting aces CC intermediary. This is inputting aces CC intermediary. Output transform is going to be Rec. 709. So here is one method for getting your footage from that wide array of information that you've captured, both in dynamic range and latitude, but also in colors, and getting it down to a viewable Rec. 709 space. And now I'm going to show you another method. Let's jump over to what a color space transform node would look like inside of Davinci Resolve. This final node in the output, we are going to use color space transform, input color space. We are dealing with Canon Cinema Gamut. Input gamma is going to be Canon log 2. Output color space, it's going to be Rec. 709. And then your output gamma 2.4. So let's take a look at what we're doing here compared to the first one. It's the same thing in terms of inputting Canon log 2, outputting Rec. 709, except you can see the differences going on here and here. So we're dealing with a pretty different way that the footage is being interpreted here. So that's also something to bear in mind if you want to have, if you want to test these different methods, whether or not you like a CST, whether or not you like running it through aces. I find aces to be a little bit better if you're dealing with multiple different inputs. For instance, if you're shooting in Canon log 2 for some scenes, Canon log 3 in others, or if you're dealing with different cameras. For instance, if you're shooting S log 3 in one scene or Canon log 2 on a different camera within that same scene, I find aces to be a little bit better. Okay, the third and final method doesn't require you to have the input, output with this complex node structure. All you'd have to do is go into your little cog wheel down here inside of Davinci Resolve, go to your color management page. Instead of Davinci YRGB, you're going to go Davinci YRGB color managed. You can click automatic color management, or you can set your color processing mode in here with your output color space, but typically just keeping on automatic is going to work pretty well. Hit save. Davinci is automatically going to recognize that this is Canon log 2 and convert it to Rec. 709. However, just bear in mind that if we flick back here, you're not going to want to double these up. So this is with the color space transform plus Davinci doing automatic color management. So make sure you don't have both of these methods of transforming your footage active. So obviously, if you're looking at this shot and you don't really like the way that the values, the contrast is looking, you can take it a step further. So we have our Rec. 709 conversion. let's continue to work inside of ACES. What are some things you can do to get a LUT closer to a final product instead of just transforming it like we've done here? I'm going to show you a node structure that I like to follow. The first node is going to be exposure. Second one's going to be contrast. The third one's going to deal with the hues. And the fourth one is going to be a saturation node. Saturation, I do not like to use the saturation slider. I find that it just doesn't quite look as good. Sometimes it appears a little bit destructive. I'm going to set this back to 50. So instead for saturation, we're going to cut our color space to HSV and then only target the saturation channel. So if you have exposed properly for middle gray, like we've done here, you'll notice that even up here at our pure white value, you're not going to be losing information. And same down here with pure black, you're not going to be losing information. So how do we create a LUT that preserves all that information while still adding contrast that we know is going to work in the real world when we're dealing with these high dynamic range scenes? What we can do is build a contrast curve with a locked middle gray point. So if I were to grab this value here, you can see that middle gray is being represented right here on the waveform, on the curves. And so if we wanted to add a bit of contrast, we can do that through our curves. Okay, so after a bit of tweaking, what we have now is a contrast curve that is introducing contrast while keeping middle gray locked. So if you've exposed properly for middle gray, you know that you're not going to be messing with those values in and around middle gray, for instance, skin tones or anything of the sort. So what we're going to do now is looking at this image, it's lacking a lot of saturation. So we're going to go to our saturation, bump this up considerably until we have an image that we like. A lot of this is personal preference when you're developing a LUT. So we've taken our Canon Log 2 footage and created something like this right here, which is way closer to a final image, a final product than you'd might find with that standard conversion. And it's customizable. You've created it how you like. If you wanted to adjust the hues of your image, you could do that with a UV hue. You could grab, for instance, your greens and adjust those either which way, albeit that shirt is closer to yellow in this image. But if you wanted to grab your values and adjust them, you could do so just like that. And then that would be, that information would be held inside of the LUT. So let's say we're happy with this image. We like the way it's appearing and we want to export it and be able to transfer this right here onto multiple different videos that are all shot in the same color space. What we would do is open up our clips, right click on the clip that we're currently dealing with, go to generate LUT, 33 point cube is what you would select. You would save that LUT inside of your file structure. Let's say you saved it on a particular hard drive and now you want to import it into Davinci Resolve on different computers or onto your personal computer like this one. Let's see what that would look like. And I'm also going to jump over to this, which was also shot in Canon Log 2, and show you guys kind of how to apply a LUT, and then especially how to apply one of your custom LUTs. So come back down to this cog. We're going to go to color management again under lookup tables. We're going to go to open LUT folder. This is where all of your LUTs are stored inside of your computer. You're going to create a new folder. I've named mine custom, and then drag and import all of your LUTs into here. Once you've done that, you can close back out, close out here, go to LUTs, click on custom like I have here. If they're not showing up, right click and hit refresh. So you have your base node here. All you would do is click on the LUT, and there you go. That is your footage with the LUT applied. And assuming you have shot this appropriately and you've exposed appropriately, you could go over to your waveform, and with a LUT that is created with that protected middle gray and against a color checker, you're going to have values that are not lost, assuming you've exposed correctly and your camera can handle the dynamic range of the scene. Okay, so real quick before we go, we're also going to be giving away a couple of free LUTs, and I will show you how it works on this footage as well as this footage here. So let's reset this. Okay, so the LUTs that we're giving away are going to work for Canon Log 2 as well as Canon Log 3. You can find them down in the description below. So for Canon Log 2 and for Canon Log 3, we're giving away 4 LUTs. Our very first one that I'd recommend getting is our C-Log 2 Natural. This is going to take your image and kind of retain something close to Rec. 709, but with a bit of an added contrast curve, as well as a little bit of added saturation. But what you're getting with Natural compared to Pop is a slight adjustment to the hues of green and blue. So Pop, it's exactly as it sounds. It's a little bit more of a commercial look, a little bit more contrast is what you're seeing. And then we're keeping the natural color science of Canon's C-Log 2 and C-Log 3. So we've made no adjustments to the hues inside of Pop, whereas we have inside of Natural. So if we look at the difference between, let's go to our gallery here. This is Natural. If I cycle between the two, you can barely notice a difference, if any, but there is a difference inside of Natural and Pop to those greens and the blues. Okay, so those are some of our natural LUTs for conversions, and then some of our more creative ones are going to be our C-Log 2 and C-Log 3 35mm film emulation. What we're doing is a bit of a split tone here, a little bit of blue, a little bit of green into the shadows, and then a little bit of red up in the past middle gray, a little bit up in the highlights, trying to get some of that filmic look. Also with the added contrast curve and saturation adjustments. So that is our 35mm film emulation. What you can do with this, if you wanted to, you could put a grain on top of this, any flavor of grain, and there you go. You have something that looks pretty nice. Great starting off point if you want to create a look like that. Let's reset these nodes. So we have that one, and then we have Bleach Bypass, which is a very popular look. Tried to keep all that information preserved while still getting that crunchy, really saturated, silvery look. Great one to try out. And then we have C-Log 2 Cold. This really kind of works with certain scenes that are meant to kind of have this cool, pushed look like this. So it's not going to work on like daytime exteriors where, you know, it's obviously sunny. If we were to jump over to something like this, so C-Log 3 to Cold, yeah. So it still looks good, just looks a little bit unnatural, introducing so much coolness into an image which is otherwise bright and sunny. So make sure you're using that one appropriately for the context of the shot. But besides that, that is all the LUTs we're giving away. Like I said, make sure to visit the description down below. It'll take you to our website, and then from there, you'll get linked to a Google Drive link, and you can download all of these for free. Feel free to let us know in the comments if you want any kind of additional LUT, if you have any issues with the LUTs, or if there's anything else we should cover with these types of videos. But I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Be sure to check us out on social media, subscribe to us here, follow us on Instagram. We'll be dropping a lot of video production and post-production information in the upcoming videos. Thank you again for watching, and have a good one.